msituni.
Waganda wote wauliza, vijana wote walienda wapi?
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Walienda huko msituni kupigania demokrasi.
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Welcome once again to OwanaPaedia, the one-stop center for Uganda's history and the history of the rest of the world. My name is Tony Geoffrey Owana, and behind the camera is Herbert Semiano, as usual, who makes things happen technologically, electronically, virtually, name it. We are in a somber moment, for on the 18th of May, a great soul departed this world, and this was Comrade Businge Amooti, Chancellor, National Honours and Awards Committee of the Office of the President, the office you know as the Office of Medals, also known as Timothy Sapiti, a set of names very few of you know. Comrade Businge succumbed to colon cancer in Zambia Hospital on that tragic 18th day. But most of his comrades have agreed that it was a life well lived and that death was a departure from unnecessary pain.
Msituni mwaka 81 kabisa kupinga dui na siasa mbaya pamoja na kuwa wananchi. Adui tulimupiga, tulimunyanyasha na kumfundisha siasa yetu nzuri. Sasa wandugu zetu, tungane mikono tujenge taifa. Watu wote walimwambia adui, NRM itakushinda kabisa, itakupiga, kufundisha siasa, uelewe mbinu za chama. Adui alichanganyikiwa, akapotea alipotoka na kuacha njia yake, alisahau silaha zake nyuma. Sasa wandugu zetu, tungane mikono tujenge taifa. Katika mlima ule wa Rwenzori, gerila lipanda mulimo kabisa, aliwacha wana Uganda wanauliza gerila hapo wapi. Adui alichanganyikiwa, akapotea alipotoka na kuacha njia yake, alisahau silaha zake nyuma. Sasa wandugu zetu, tungane mikono tujenge taifa. Gerila lipigana kiume na unga mikono na wananchi kabisa, wakapiga adui akakosa nia yake, alienda hana la kusema. Adui tulimupiga.
OwanaPaedia commiserates with the family, and by the time of his death at 68, you could say he was at the level of permanent secretary, being secretary to the National Honours and Awards Committee. In between there is a very, very rich CV that began way back in the 70s when he joined the civil service, up to 1985 there when he began to be involved in clandestine operations of the National Resistance Army in Western Uganda. Businge is probably the only person I know who has served in a high position in both the Internal Security Organization, ISO, as Deputy Director General under General Ivan Koreta, and also in the External Security Organization as Deputy Director General under David Burkol. I might not be as informed as those in the security system, but I think that is part of a remarkable record. We have tried to piece his CV together, and OwanaPaedia invites you to share a little of the life of this great man. From records supplied by the family, Businge Amooti completed advanced level A-level in 1973 at Kibuli Secondary School in Kampala. Then he completed his BA in Political Science and Sociology at Makerere University in 1977. In 1983, he won a diploma in law from the Law Development Center, Makerere University. Then in 1994, he was at Raoul Wallenberg Institute of Human Rights and Humanitarian Law, where he won a certificate of attendance. In 2002, he passed out at Uganda Management Institute with a postgraduate diploma in management. When Businge began working in May 1977, he got a job as a district compliance officer in charge of Kabarole, Kasese and Bundibujo districts under the Social Security Fund, which was then under the Ministry of Labour. And it was during that time, towards the end of that period of 85, that he was incorporated into the ranks of the rebel National Resistance Army. Businge didn't want to talk much about that, but he was serving in government while doing clandestine operations for Museveni'S National Resistance Army. Thus, in August 1986 up to December 1986, he was aide-de-camp to the brigade commander of Brigade 151 based in Mbale. And who was this brigade commander? Omujwara Kondo Matayo Bitamazire Kyaligonza, now a Major General, retired, and our ambassador to Burundi. I don't want to say much, but working with and for Matayo Kyaligonza required nerves of steel. From October 1987 to December 1989, he was Assistant Special District Administrator for Busia Sub-District. And that is when I had that encounter with him when he was working with the late Alphonse Okello Owana and other survivors. By the time Businge died, we had been discussing how to decorate the survivors of the insurgency in Busia. I think those are still lying on his desk. Between 1992 and 1993, he was Deputy Resident District Commissioner for Bushenyi. Then from December 1993 to February 1995, he was RDC for Kabale. From 1995 in March to April 1997, he was RDC for Kiboga. Businge was a highly secretive man on account of the clandestine background of his work. That is why his official CV does not include the times he was serving in the security organs. And out of his spirit of cadreship, which old cadres say that as long as you remain steadfast and dedicated and deployable, you will be deployed. Businge spent a number of years on Katebe redundancy, enforced redundancy. I'm reliably informed because of a disagreement with one of the superiors, a disagreement based on principle. But even after that Katebe, the commander-in-chief remembered that he had a loyal cadre somewhere and recalled him from working as a chief administrative officer in some outpost where he willingly went, not necessarily happily, but willingly, and bounced back to assume higher posts, including the one at which he has served until his death. May the soul of this great cadre rest in peace. In 1986, Comrade Businge Amooti was part of a group of cadres who attended cadre number 2, whose pass out was in one of the forests in Namugongo, which no longer exists, and which pass out was presided over by President Museveni, who gave a very, very interesting lecture before passing them out. We are going to take a brief look at that pass out, and you can see with your own eyes where people have come from. Let's go back to the National School of Political Education, Namugongo. I think it was in March of 1986.
Systematized way of looking at something, we call that ideology. So in a movement, in a country, you must first of all have a correct ideology, a correct system of ideas, a correct way of understanding problems. An example, and these are living examples. The army of NRL and the army of the Okeros and the Obotes and the Amins. In the army of the Amins and the Obotes and the Okeros, which are essentially the same army, according to their understanding, tribalism was a very big factor. Tribalism was a very big factor. They would not trust you unless you are from their tribe. So to them, loyalty was based on the tribe. And army was supposed to be a brotherhood somehow, a sense of brotherhood, of undugu. Now, because of that position of theirs, it has led the army to disaster. We, on the other hand, right from the beginning, our line was, a good soldier is a good soldier, regardless of what his tribe. And that's why you used to hear people like Obote always preoccupied with the tribal issues. For instance, Obote was always on the radio. Oh, Museveni is a Mnyarwanda. Museveni is a Mnyarwanda. Museveni is a Mnyarwanda. Museveni is a Mnyarwanda. But suppose I was, what would be wrong with that?
Waganda wote wauliza, vijana wote walienda wapi?
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Walienda huko msituni kupigania demokrasi.
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Walienda huko msituni kupigania uhuru yake.
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Walienda huko msituni kupiga Obote na vitendo vyake.
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Walienda huko msituni kupiga Muwanga na Arusha yake.
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Kama sulita buribujo abana babayekera batideyo.
Kibonge cha nini? Vijana walihamia msituni.
Bunyoro Amooti was secretary to the National Honours and Awards Committee, in fact Chancellor of the National Honours and Awards Committee, and you would imagine that he would have awarded himself a lot of medals, the way some of you abuse public office. To my amazement, I think Businge only has one medal, and that is the National Independence Medal, which he got on Labour Day 2015 in Kisoro. The little history I know about Businge is that the time he served directly in the military and later in the political service of the early NRM government would have entitled him to, I think, the Luwero Triangle Medal, and also having been Deputy District Administrator during the insurgency in eastern Uganda, especially Tororo Busia. He would also have got the Choga Medal. And to this one, to Businge Amooti, in this respect, I want to add Lieutenant Colonel Hannington Kakura, who also passed away. These are some of the people who saw a lot of trouble with the insurgents that were sneaking into Busia from Kenya. in 87 towards 88. And one hilarious incident which Bunyoro Amooti went through during that time was when President Moi was so angry with the NRM revolution that he virtually declared war on it. One time, President Moi donated 2 bags of sugar to Ugandans, whom he described as Washenzi, who were very hungry. He brought 2 bags to no man's land, and the person tasked to receive them was Bunyoro Amooti. The scarcity of decorations on Bunyoro Amooti did not mean that he was mean with decorations for others. Indeed, it was Bunyoro Amooti who remembered that after decorating all of Uganda's great boxers, we had forgotten about their coach. And who was this coach? Peter Grace Seruwaji. And it is our happiness to bring you that brief ceremony, which I attended together with my senior, the late Andrew Patrick Luandaga, and Bunyoro Amooti. Bunyoro exhibited a lot of historic information about Grace Seruwaji, which some of us historians did not know. OwanaPaedia invites you to that memorable event.
Peter Grace Seruwaji, thank you very much. And we wish you happy anniversary of your 83rd year on November 27th this year. We shall send you greetings.
November 30th, because
November 30th.
I was born in 31.
Okay.
November 30th.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I can feel the grip. Get the grip. Close up of the grip from this side. Yeah.
How did you remember Peter Grace?
Not that we had forgotten him, but his time hadn't come.
Okay.
We remembered him when we were trying to say that how come that you always remember the boxers, you don't remember the coaches. You remember the footballers, you don't remember the coaches. That's how Grace came up.
Yes.
And it's happened that I don't think there is any coach who has yet beaten his record in terms of producing the best boxers. And I think in his days they were calling them the golden years in boxing because of so many medals which were brought up by him. And also I also remember him. Have you ever had the chance of any coach in the world boxing with the head of state?
No, it is only Peter Grace.
But I'm told
they had arranged.
No. Peter Grace in 1958 boxed Amin and he won. Is that true? Yeah. Before Amin became a head of state, I think he was also a boxer in the army.
Yes.
And Grace, I do not know you are boxing for who.
I was in Kiambu, yeah.
And my former school, Morocco.
What cup was that? There was something called Urafiki.
That was in
Brunas.
Kenya. That was different. This was in national champions.
Yes.
And he was from the army and I was from the school.
Yes.
So when we reached the final, I knocked him.
You know, and at the same time, I think he wanted revenge, saying, how do I now?
And the way he wanted to revenge, he was the head of the state.
Yes.
And he wanted me to throw him, he one punch.
Then
Good.
Yes.
Die.
You know, in this
you can't intercept any kick.
you have to accept. So what did you do? You gave way.
There. I used my head.
Yes, sir.
What happened in this article where I did, as soon as they entered the ring, the security men were surrounding the 4 corners of the ring. So in case you had knocked Amin down, I think that would have been your end.
But Museveni Grace says the worst. Because how can you dodge the president?
So what I did, and even the photographer, they couldn't manage to show it. Because when I was just putting my hand here, I saw that big man is aiming to knock me down. So, and when I was training the boxers, just advising them not to preventing any person to land any punch. And when I saw that, I mean, he was very seriously just wanted to knock me. So I ducked down.
And you fell down?
He threw the hands. I punched here. I did this. Did this here, this muscle. When you punch this muscle,
this hand goes.
And I know that when the hands goes down, everyone will show it. I went down before.
Oh, you went
before? I went before.
Aye.
By the time we put the hands down, I was already
knocked out.
You got knocked out yourself.
Anyway, I counted.
And the commentator started saying that Amin has given a knockout.
Didn't he? Allah. This is wonderful. Muzeeyi weebale kubeera. Ffe tetumanyi kulaga nnyo ssanyu ndowooza naye. Bwe nawulidde nti ojja, kuyita mu siniya wange nti wange, oli gw'omumanyi mperekera ako kati ate nze muwerekete.
Nsanyuse nnyo kubanga nze namusindiira ka message kulw'omukazi ali busy, jo yali semuto nendowooza kati you are still busy celebrating your 50 and you on top of that you couldn't even remember us. Yes. So I had to ensure that I invite you so that at least even if the unborn we know that actually he was rewarded. Recognize his contribution towards sports. And you know, sports is one of the biggest unifiers if you have seen it. Can you imagine even people celebrating? You know, I didn't even know that the women volleyballers, when they beat the Egyptians, that the Ugandans were really celebrating.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very big event.
It was a very big one. So, if sports can unify and it goes across all the divide, whether political, religious, whatever.
Saves us from the endless politics.
Yeah. So that's why we are honoring him. And I'm looking forward in Kawere also being honored. I hope.
Don't go with
Museveni, and is it Oloka? There is an outstanding athlete. In fact, that appointment was supposed to be in early August. Unfortunately, I think when they checked on Museveni's telephone, the number that Museveni left behind for contact was no longer available. And I think we missed that opportunity because he had, through Honorable Bakabulindi, he had tried to establish contact. And Museveni approached Honorable Bakabulindi and gave him his phone. Incidentally, he lost that phone. And he just got another number and did not communicate this number to Honorable Bakabulindi. But His Excellency had wanted to meet them with Tom Kawere and Oluka. Is it Oluka? So that's how we miss.
So it is Honorable Bakabulindi who knows the other name.
The third person.
Okay.
We can revive it. If a chance can happen that His Excellency can agree to be among those to officiate on that function, it will be very, very good. Yeah.
By the grace of God, Grace Seruaji met President Museveni on 2nd May 2015.
That's when I open the real medal with this one. I think without much ado, I go ahead and the country is very grateful. And His Excellency the President gave you this medal on the 9th October this year, His Excellency.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Kumukolo waliyo. Kadi yali nayo. Byonna biri muno. Kulaga nti bali bakwisa ku mukolo. Ate wali VIP kubanga olaba akantu ka red kano. Kiba kitegeeza nti oyo muntu mukulu nnyo ali yasinga ddala waggulu. Ekyo ekitiibwa gwe wakyewalira n'okifuna. You fought for it. You deserve it, and thank God that for you are getting it when you are alive, others are going to get it. They get them and it's only there.
Era ngenda kuba ng'opozinze nono omusajja sigwa bawandiikangako isi aita lwana mpozinga
ejali namutamba erinnya lye ery'entumanyi we jasenti etugenda okugonaliza ngeeryale
Gripu ye
njulira
oba bakusonyiye
yekutoli akalo
nali neeroza nti nayinyina
you can imagine despite his age he's still very strong.
Yes. Tata, how old are you?
I'm 83.
80
Only
80
83 only. Mwana nze kati ngenda.
I first met Businge Amooti way back in 1987 when I was one of the editors of the Telecast, an English newspaper that had been started in 1986. And we were actually covering the insurgency in Busia, where my father, the late Alfonso Okello, was chairman of Buteba sub-county and was working very closely with Businge Amooti and the Huntington Kakura. Those are the days when we had the insurgency of Onyango Kolokoto and the Omwero, very, very dangerous fellows, but they were somehow contained. Then over the years we've been meeting until in 2009 when I was hosting Barometer on NBS TV. And I requested an interview with the gurus of the National Honours and Awards Committee, to which Businge had just been made the Chancellor a year earlier. And they agreed to be hosted to my Barometer show in 2009. And the information we gleaned from that interview was also very, very insightful, especially from Businge and from Genosari. Let's go back to 2009. Courtesy of NBS TV, which captured these moments. Comrade Businge Amooti, as far as you are informed, when did this government last give medals to other than to soldiers? Because at least soldiers I know a bit of when they just got. And could you put a time frame on when we might get? We could include me or not include me, but I'm sure people out there are very anxious to know whether there's a framework in place of, like for instance on Heroes Day, this year or next year or the other year, what's in the pipeline for us?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good evening, viewers. You have put that question properly. The last I was seeing the records of different offices was that 1974, that was in Amin's days. That's when a very, very big group of Ugandans from all aspects of society. Civil servants, politicians, administrators, traders, elders, distinguished people in society. And I think they were in Southern's. That's when they were last awarded the medals. But it was mainly one type of medal that was independence medal. They were distinguishing they were recognizing their distinguished services in different areas of life. That was when we significantly had the giving away of one type of medal, the independence medal. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I remember hearing during Idi Amin's time, President Siad Barre got something like Order of the Source of the Nile. And I remember seeing pictures of him putting on a sash, but that's the only word I heard about. Then I also hear that a senior civil servant by the name Tekla Chinarwa won a medal either as a senior civil servant or one of those things. What surprises me is that even those who might have won these medals are either hiding them for reasons best known to themselves, or they lost them. Might your committee have a process in which you might identify these people who were once deserving, so that you probably we need to know them. I wish we could know them.
But what is important is you have only mentioned one person among the thousands.
Indeed, that's the
maybe that is the one you may have come across, but really there were so many, as I told you. And not only the civil servants, as I told you, but whoever was deserving and had been recognized by the ministries, the departments, academicians, researchers, all of them got. And in any case, if somebody gets a medal, unless he has reported that the medal is lost, okay, you can't be seen to be saying that you are going to replace that medal, unless somebody has reported so. Secondly, you don't even have to force somebody to put on the medal. But it is just a recognition that so and so got it, and the society recognizes his efforts or her efforts, okay, for that matter.
Professor, I think what I would like to add is that it's very difficult to follow things that happened during Idi Amin's rule. First of all, I'm not even aware of any law that enabled that those awards to be made. And also, I think it would have made sense then that these recipients were actually published in the government gazette. The government gazette is the official source of public information. Many people make a mistake. They think that if something is printed in the newspapers, therefore it's information from the government. That's not true. The only authentic source of government information to the public is the government gazette. So these people should have been published in the gazette, and therefore at any time one would go to the libraries and get the gazette of that time and be able to establish who received which award. Therefore, one, we don't know whether there was any enabling law. Number two, I don't know whether these recipients were published in the National Gazette. So it's very difficult. But however, I would like to add that as far as we are concerned, we will go back in history and look at all Ugandans. Anybody whom we think will be deserving will be considered. And that's one of the reasons why we are appearing on this program tonight, to let all Ugandans know about it, so that any information the public may have about the Ugandan who might have made very good contribution to the life of this country, the history of this country, would let us know, so that we take their information into account.
Thank you very much. Comrade Businge, I'll get back to you, especially when I wish the public to know how they could channel information towards the committee to which you are secretary and the chancellor. Like like, I'm putting it this way. If people in Amungura want me to be recognized as a hero, I would want you to guide them on how to go about it, because it could end up like a political campaign, like someone wants to be voted a hero. So it will be necessary for you to guide the public into how they go through it. But now I have already taken aim at the genocide. Now I'm going to fire. Genocide. I have many questions to ask you, especially on behalf of viewers out there. One, it is peculiar that while you are a decorated war hero, permit me to use the term, President Museveni does not have a single decoration. Yet it is maybe safe to think that he might have fought more than you. Yes, I mean, permit me that, since I was not there. Secondly, we have only seen decorations with generals or very, very senior officers. Yet there are sergeants and corporals out there who really bled for this country. Now, are these medals only for the top brass, and are the riflemen to keep marking time until Jesus comes, the second coming?
No, thank you, Tony.
Yes.
Good evening, viewers. The first question I will not be able to answer. About President Museveni, let me attempt to answer it, and I see whether, I don't know whether it will be right or wrong.
I hope the president is tuned into barometer.
No problem at all. You see, in the military, the originating authority is the military. And I remember when the first awards, the symbolic awards, which were awarded, I think in 2003, we attempted to offer him the Katonga Bridge. And he refused it, said, first settle others, then we will see what to do. He did not accept it at the beginning. Now,
Katonga happens to be
the highest military, okay, the highest military decoration. Yeah.
Okay. And
so
the president said, wait.
You first deal with others before you deal with me.
Okay.
That's, I remember, that was at that time. But even then, those who were awarded those ranks, I mean those medals, were just symbolic. We are quite aware that very many people participated in the war. That's why, so far, we have given out only 2 medals which are obvious. One, which is Ruwero, is a general medal for everybody who participated in the 81-86 war. Okay. And as far as I can remember, at least 1,500 combatants have already received that. Okay. Combatant, that is beginning from general up to private, whoever participated in that phase. I'm aware that there are thousands also very deserving veterans of that war who have not received this award. Okay. The second award that was given was the dam, which is also obvious.
Dam is blood.
Blood, yeah, that's what it means. That one is also obvious because it is given to a person who has sustained injuries as a result of combat. Okay. But those also which were given were very, very symbolic. Now, the military has been saying that let us first finish the war, because all of them, the whole command structure has been involved in war. Let us first finish the war before we deal with the award givings.
Where war means this
insurgencies that has really been on their back, okay, for all this period. Thirdly, when we attempted to give these medals, then there came the issues of legalities. We brought in the medals in 1990 something. Then we gave out a few. Then we discovered that we were acting outside the law. There was no law to give these medals to the combatants. And the law took a long time, that is for the chairman, I think, to comment on, until 2001.
Which is the, which resulted in this act, copies of which we have.
Yes, into the act. So the combatants are aware that the army is willing to give them the medals, but there are certain administrative issues that needed to be handled before. On the complaint that the generals are the only people who get the medals, all of us, all the generals in Uganda, I think who are not more than 6 have only got one medal, which was also obvious. Nobody has received a medal that is beyond the obvious one of getting injuries.
Okay.
And most senior officers who have been in combat and they have got injuries, whenever there is any occasion to give out medals, they get them. Okay. So, I don't, but you see, I can as well say this, that the people, there are very many people, deserving people who are outside there, who have not yet been identified to be given these the medals, okay, including the true heroes who are there. The true heroes.
Who are the true and the fake ones? I may land in the second category.
Like the generals, they get medals, yes, but they are not the real heroes. Mm-hmm. Okay, they get them because of their status and all that. But the true heroes are the ones who really get the fire. So those ones have not yet been given the medals, except the general medals. And in the military, on the civilian side, I don't know, on the military side, we have the highest being Katonga. Okay. Because of
Katonga is the one the president declined and said start with the others.
Yes.
Okay.
Then there is Kabarega, then there is Masaba, then there is Rukaya, then there is Kagera, for those people who participated in the 1979 war.
Okay.
Then there is Choga, for the people who participated against all these insurgencies, Lakwena and all that. So all these medals are in stock. But the problem has been, as the chairman will let you know, administrative. Yeah. But now, I think since the committee is in place and functional, I think people are going to begin getting the medals. Yeah. But also, you must remember that not everybody who participates in a war gets a medal.
I was coming to that because
not every hero gets not everybody is a hero in combat. Mm-hmm. But I think you are beginning to misuse the word, like when you call me General Sare a war decorated hero. No, mm-hmm. I'm not a hero at all. Mm-hmm. I'm just, maybe I could have been a good officer at commanding soldiers. Yes. Because a hero is a complicated word.
Yeah, and I appreciate your modesty, which is partly what led the president to decline the Katonga.
Possibly.
But modesty aside, I have read a little about you. A little, and with me, a little is quite much in comparison to others. So maybe, since you are not the one who names yourself, you will leave it to others.
No, but you see, the problem that we are beginning to believe in these Hollywood, the ones we see in the films. Those are just ninjas, and they are a true hero. Most heroes are dead. Okay. Yeah, that's what we believe in the military, that a true hero is the one who doesn't see the benefits of what he fights for. Okay. That's the true hero, according to how we describe them. So all of us who are walking around calling ourselves heroes may be overrepresenting ourselves. But you get a medal because either you have participated in a campaign, or you have participated in you have exemplary behavior, or not everybody can get a medal.
So my concern really is that in the absence of decorations, especially in the military, I didn't emphasize the fact that you are the senior president's advisor on defense. Is that in the absence of decorations and awards for particular campaigns or instances of action, then people begin crying for promotion. All their relatives. I think the greatest danger comes from Owana's relatives who complain that Omwana waffe tebamuwa, and it becomes that he fought here and here and here and here, but they are not giving him. Yet that would be quickly offset by a color or one of those things. So until that happens, I think we shall have the problem of people demanding for promotions for their relatives, because I think the soldiers themselves understand how things go, but not we who are their relatives and in-laws.
I think I have told you there are general medals. There are general medals which are for participation. Okay, that one everybody who participated deserves to get. But then there are exemplary valor. That's Katonga Bridge, Kawarega. Those very few people will ever get those medals. Yes, like among all the generals in Uganda, nobody is even dreaming of getting Katonga Bridge, because Katonga Bridge signifies the highest level, where you do something that results into a very strategic achievement. Okay. So for me, I'm not hopeful to get that one. For instance, you're calling me but I'm not hopeful to get Katonga. I don't think I will even be considered for Kawarega. Most probably, I can settle for maybe, I don't know what they will offer me. For Masaba. But that one will originate from the Army Command.
Okay.
They are the ones who will create the citations, who will determine, and then they forward this to the committee. The committee cannot originate them. It is the Army Command which will originate them and then send them to the president. The president sends them to the committee. I think that's the order of.
Thank you very much, Afande Sale. By the time I went into this ceasefire, I was asking Comrade Businge Amooti what mechanism he had in place for people channeling information to him before they have their own meeting. And while we were off air, I was educated by General Saleh that there's a craze about the word heroism and hero, and he will further educate us on that, because it could be misleading to begin calling people heroes simply because they have done something deserving. Comrade Businge.
Viewers, what we have really done so far, as the law provides, is you write to different agencies of government like ministries, the permanent secretaries, the departments, and other agencies. You give them some guidelines on the people whom they can nominate, and they state the reasons why they are nominating those people as the deserving people to be honored with awards and the honors. And of course, the committee will have to go through that. And as the exercise expands and we get more staff, we are supposed to be also having a research desk to verify what has been stated by those agencies that so and so is deserving. So of course that is also the first mechanism. The second mechanism, it is not automatic that even if you forward a name, it will necessarily qualify. The committee has also to go through it and be convinced that such and such a person is deserving, and therefore they can safely recommend that name to His Excellency for the award.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, no one can channel to your email something about me. It seems like I'm campaigning, but I think, are you telling us to wait until we are given the go-ahead?
But I've already contacted and agencies, and already names have been forwarded.
Okay, and that is not now privy to public
It is not privy, but I've already contacted the people, and they know, and especially the agencies of government, really, so far.
So even me, your old friend, you are not about to tell me whether
It's
I'm
not
there.
a question of friendship, and I would also like to emphasize what Professor Kagonyera was saying. The members of this committee are people of distinguished record and background. And in any case, I'm wondering why somebody would bribe to be awarded a medal, because so far there is no monetary gain attached to it. So I'm wondering why somebody would be so enthusiastic as to be seen to be making an inducement through money to
Be
get a
seen
medal.
to be what he is.
It would be very surprising. What would be the implications?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get back to General Sali with another shot, although it may misfire. General, you said, you hinted that awards for, like decorations for soldiers would not necessarily involve us or one has to express our opinions, because my friend, a friend of mine who is in the army, whose name I won't mention, has been observing that he has thanked you for your candor, that you were very candid and that I should be humbled for having asked you such a question. But he added that even then it's not up to you. Like when you mentioned you want to get Katonga, and I maybe think it is also not up to him. But what guidance would you give here on where we could easily be misled into thinking omuntu wafera tebamuwadde and that kind of referendum spirit?
It is in the army. It is a very simple process. It is the army command. The army command is the CDF and his staff officers and his division commanders, those who know who deserves to get what.
Okay.
They are the ones who sit down and then they say, this year or this function, such and such a person we request that such and such a person be given such and such a medal. It is the army command which determines, which originates the request for an award to a medal.
Okay.
There is no shortcut. There is no shortcut in order that then they send it to the committee through the Ministry of Defense. And then the committee verifies, we cross-check and check and check. And then once we are satisfied with the names that have sent to us, then we send them to the president for approval.
Okay.
So there is no campaign. You can't campaign. It's like you cannot campaign for a rank in the military. No. That one will never happen, because that will become something else.
If it was possible, I would be a consultant.
Absolutely. But you cannot campaign for the medals. You cannot campaign for the rank.
Okay.
You must be given by the people who are in charge of your.
Then General Saleh, also maybe teach me something on behalf of viewers. What happens in a country where there is no fighting? Like, for instance, if we wind up this insurgency, how will people in that future peaceful army be getting medals which could be rotting in a bomb or somewhere when they are lying there? That is for the education of viewers plus me.
I think in future there are going to be several medals. In my opinion, and that's we have not yet discussed it, but there are, for instance, medals for peacekeeping. Like our guys who went to Liberia got medals for peacekeeping. Somalia, we haven't yet established that. But there will be medals for mainly peacekeeping. The rest is combat.
Okay.
The rest is campaign and combat.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think a nation at peace. In the lineup of the medals that I have here, I see any of them for doing very good administrative work. I don't see that.
Okay.
I see all the medals that have been outlined there are for combat. I don't see anything for administration.
7 years later, on Heroes Day, 9th June 2016, at Sisab County in Buikwe District in Uganda, Businge Amooti was present and in charge as Chancellor of the National Honours and Awards Committee when President Museveni finally accepted the Order of Katonga from Chief Justice Bart Magunda Katurebe.
The Order of Katonga as I've said, is the highest, most rarely awarded military decoration of the Republic of Uganda for individual extraordinary instances of heroism in the military. 0001, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, His Excellency the President, is awarded the Order of Katonga. Yes, the Chief Justice is now decorating General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Thank you, Your Excellency.
On the same day, the modest General Salim Saleh Akandwanaho also received Uganda's second highest military honor, the Order of Kabalega, from President Yoweri Museveni himself. And I wondered whether Comrade Businge Amooti remembered the interview we had had 7 years earlier.
The Kabalega Star, in accordance with the National Honors Act, Part 2, Section 2, is in 3 classes. The Kabalega Star shall be the second highest military decoration with 3 classes. The award shall be for conspicuous military gallantry that does not justify the award of the Order of Katonga, but bordering with the qualification for the award of the Order of Katonga. So it is the next military medal, and I have the pleasure to announce that the following people have been awarded the Kabalega Star. RO 00008, the late Lieutenant James Karuhanga, and the late Ruta Maguzi Edidia. RO 00016, General Caleb Akandwanaho.
All I can say is that Comrade Timothy Sabiti Businge Amooti has lived a life well lived. We commiserate with the family and we tell them that Businge Amooti would have said, "Aluta continua," the struggle continues. This has been a sober, somber, solemn moment. But don't forget to subscribe to OwanaPaedia. It's the only place where you can get information of this nature. Secondly, we are edging slowly towards lifting the lockdown. Before it is lifted, work smart. Work smart. Use communication to supply your goods and services if you don't have to open. And if you really don't have to leave, stay inside Noah's Ark. Tony Geoffrey Owana and Herbert Semiano for OwanaPaedia, the one-stop center for Uganda's history, and without which you have a great future behind you.